there, I'm Heather Gill, local realtor with eXp Realty here in Carrollton, Texas. And I am talking to the wonderful Mr. Mark Miller. He is with Comfort Keepers here in Carrollton. Mark, thanks so much for hanging out with me today and answering some questions for us.
Thanks for having me today.
Awesome. Okay, question that came in. What are my options if I cannot afford your services?
So there's a few options. Typically, most people do not know that they have long-term care insurance. So what happens is that they say, "Well, I have insurance. I don't know. I bought it a couple of years ago when I was with my job." So I will help them with that with the benefit, setting up the benefits. So with long-term care insurance, you can afford that as well. Typically, it's usually a daily max going to a monthly max.
Okay.
With a pool of money that's usually lasting for 3 to 4 years within the contract. So that's one way to fund it. Some of the other ways is asking for family members for assistance. And for me, I usually would negotiate with them a price, and after trying to come with them with the most optimal hours needed to come in and help them. So typically that's probably the best way. If further assistance is needed, that they can't really afford for us, and I can't price negotiate anymore. I would typically ask them to try to go into a group home or kind of a nursing home. And within that situation, that's where I'll ask kind of a professional realtor like yourself to come in and help sell some of their assets and to help kind of
Sure.
fund that situation.
Mark, what you're saying makes a lot of sense. And, sometimes I have friends that have had this happen. I know people that have had this happen where, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt and uncle, somebody in their family needed a little bit higher level of care, needed your services, and maybe needed something beyond that, at a later time. And sometimes they have to sell some assets to do that. It happens, and you just make the best of it. You do what you have to do for your family member. Absolutely. Now, I think I heard something about you doing some kind of nonprofit that might also
So
in this matter. Yeah.
so we have a nonprofit that we're trying to build, and the reason that came about is because we ran into a lot of Medicaid clients that were looking for assistance, and of course we don't accept Medicaid as being non-medical. So what I was looking into was trying to build a non-for-profit because and try to raise funds that way through the national government instead of the local Texas government to help subsidize with some of their needs. Because, for instance, if they're on traditional Medicaid, of course they qualify to get the wheelchair, anything that's needed, the DME equipment to that nature. But because we are non-medical and they really need us, they can't afford us because of their income level. So trying to use that to help subsidize some of their payments. I mean, and just to be honest with you, so when they're on Medicare, most of them are on fixed income.
Right.
So with that, we try to say, okay, we literally go through their budget and say, okay, what are you paying? Entertainment, food, living expenses, and things of that nature. And we say, okay, we can work with this number, and after that, from a number per month where they can afford, we say, okay, this is what you can pay for the hours that we can optimize for you. And if there's anything needed, then we can kind of dip into the non-profit bank and help subsidize the rest of the hours that they need.
Well, very good. I'm looking forward to hearing about that nonprofit once you get it set up and established. So maybe we can do another little Q&A around that when the time is ready.
Absolutely. And I'm trying because it's a long process, especially now with the COVID situation in the government and everything.
Right.
There's a backlog. So it might take a couple of months, but I'm trying.
No, I think it's great. Anything that we can do. I mean, I'm a service professional. You're a service professional, and anything we can do to help our clients out, and sometimes, especially in your particular line of industry. I mean, being tight on money and on cash is not uncommon. I mean, not everybody plans for end of life and has everything ready for that, and sometimes things happen. So having little services and things that can help out with that is, gosh, just a tremendous benefit for them and their family. So I think that's amazing what you're doing. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, Mark, I thank you so much for your time. For those of you that want to reach out to Mark, his number's there on the screen. You can also shoot him an email, and he's happy to help any way he can. So thank you again for your time, Mark.
Yep, thanks for having me.